Hey everyone, I'm Tom. I'm one of the hosts of Real Recovery Talk. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing addict manipulation. I've been there, I've done that, I've manipulated everybody in my path. Yes, I'm in recovery myself, so everything I say is from experience. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. We're discussing addict manipulation. It's something that every addict does. You cannot get away from it. It's for sure one of the biggest things that you have to be educated on. You have to understand, you have to know what to look for, because you could be manipulated by your addict loved one, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your child, and you might not even know. You may have no clue that they're even doing it. Meanwhile, they have this whole plan going through their head, and they know exactly what they want to say. They know exactly the response that they want to get from you in order to help support their addiction and get ultimately what they want. And they want to continue to use drugs, and they want to continue to drink, and they want to continue living this addict lifestyle. And the only way that they can do that is by manipulating you. So for today, what we're going to discuss is basically things to look out for. So by the end of this episode, you're educated enough and you'll know when they're manipulating you. So one of the first things that you want to watch for is an addict by nature. They're going to always play the victim. They're going to come up with reasons why it's not their fault. You see it a lot of times. They'll blame everybody around them, but it's never their fault. It's always somebody else's fault. If it's your child, they could say, well, if you wouldn't have split up with dad, I wouldn't be this way. Or if we wouldn't have moved from backwoods Pennsylvania to here, if you wouldn't have taken me out of my environment, I wouldn't be this way that I am now. It's very common. And the reason that they do that is because they have to be able, they want to deflect the blame onto somebody else. They can't really recognize the fact that it is they're making this decision. So if they blame other people, then it takes the focus off of them. They'll blame their friends. You see that often. Like if their friend, they'll look for any reason to blame other people. Well, you abandoned me, a couple months ago, and ever since that happened, I've just gone off the rails. Or they'll blame, boyfriends or girlfriends. They can blame literally anything. And it's funny, if you watch an addict and how they do this, when they'll start blaming things and it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So by them blaming, they're ultimately playing the victim. And when they're playing the victim, they want people to feel sorry for them. And if people feel sorry for them, it really takes the focus off of what's really going on. And they have a drug addiction or they have alcoholism, whatever the case is. They also do this thing. It's in the recovery world, it's called like priming. They're going to prime the conversation. They're going to do things intentionally to take the focus off of them. And something that you'll see quite often is they'll intentionally start an argument with you. Okay. They'll pick fights. They'll do anything they can to get a rouse out of you, because say it's your kid and they start a fight with you and you say, get out. Okay, you just said get out. Now they have another excuse that they can go and do what they want because you threw me out of the house, or you said that, I couldn't stay here. Again, that's something that they're doing to manipulate. It's called priming. They're really, they have this idea of what they want to do. And the only way that they can accomplish that is by starting an argument with you. They'll probably also, they'll start the conversation off something like this. I know you're going to think this is totally crazy. I can't even believe that I'm about to say this, but blah, 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 blah. That's another way that they're like priming the conversation to get you to they're trying to make you think that maybe you are crazy or maybe that they are crazy. Like, you're probably going to think this sounds stupid, but this is the only way that I know how to cope with. So they're going to prime the conversation. You're probably going to think this is crazy, but this is really the only way that I know how to cope with moving here. I didn't want to move from where we were, and now I'm here. And the only thing that I know what to do is to fill in the blank, drink, use drugs. So they're priming the conversation by saying that, and then they're also placing blame on you, and they're also playing the victim all in the same sentence. And that leaves you thinking, well, gosh, there probably is something to that. Maybe I am causing this. Or maybe then you start internalizing it, and maybe I'm the reason that they're in this position in the first place. And then you start taking blame. And then what happens is you want to try and start fixing them. So now you're assuming the blame, and maybe you're starting to believe what they're doing and what they're saying to manipulate you. And now your gut reaction is to start fixing it. And I see all the time when parents or spouses or loved ones, they try and now fix the situation because they think it's their fault that their loved one is in this position. And now they want to do things to repair it by, let's go away on a vacation or something. Let's go somewhere and just spend some time together. Let's go out and get you some new clothes or whatever the case is. And then, so now the addict knows that they have you right where they want you. And then they can start manipulating even more because they know that you're internalizing this, that they have you right where they want you. You're assuming some of the responsibility of their addiction. And now they're in a position to where they can say, hey, I'm really strapped right now. I don't have much money. Do you think you can give me $10 maybe to get some gas in my car? Or do you think you can give me a few dollars to get some food or whatever? And then again, you're in this position where you feel like you owe it to them because maybe you're the reason that they're in this position in the first place. And you say, okay, yeah, I'll give you some money. Here's $20 or here's $40. Go ahead and get, put some gas in your car, get some food. And the first thing that they do with that money is they go and they get drugs. And it happens all the time. Addicts are very good at this. They're good at conniving. They're good at making you think that you owe this to them, that they're in this position because of what you've done, the environment that you've provided them. And so in turn, you're giving back to them. I see it all the time where parents are making car payments for their children. They're putting security deposits down on their apartment that they want to live in. They're doing all these things. Meanwhile, the addict is like, they have absolutely no reason to stop using because they're getting everything that they want. And meanwhile, you think that you're doing right by them because you feel like you owe it to them. And they've manipulated you into thinking that. So it's important that when you pick up on these things, whether they're playing the victim, whether they're priming these conversations and trying to get you to really buy into their lies, don't feed into it. Recognize when they're manipulating you or when they're trying to. And don't be afraid to call it out and let them know, I'm not going to fall for this. Keep it factual. If they need money for gas, keep it factual, keep it simple. If you need money for gas, I will follow you to the gas station and I'll put $5 in your gas tank. Never, ever give them money. I would be more encouraging to say, go figure it out yourself. But if you feel like you have to for whatever reason, follow them to the gas station. If they need money for food, follow them to the grocery store. Pay for $10 or $15 worth of peanut butter and jelly and let it be that. Don't ever give them money to go and get these things because 10 out of 10 times they're not going to go and get these things that they said that they did. So keep it simple. Don't read into it too much. You'll know. And the thing is as time goes on and the longer that you spend in this cycle and they're manipulating you and they're telling lies and stuff, you're going to start picking up on it more and more and more. And you're going to be able to tell, and you're going to be able to just call it out right then and there. No, I'm not going to do this. No. And then eventually they're going to stop asking, and they know that they can't get anywhere with you. So that's when that is the whole manipulation process. Now, when they know that they can't get anything out of you, they're going to move on to their next victim, I guess, is the best way to put it. Because maybe you, mom, maybe you don't want to, or and you're not feeding into this manipulation, but maybe your son or daughter knows that grandma she'll give into this stuff. So don't be afraid to educate the people around you so they know as well. Hey, this is what I need to look for. This is what I've been told. And that way they know when, the loved one comes to them and says the same things, that they can hold their boundaries too and not give in. And ultimately what we're trying to do is we're keeping the addict from accessing any sort of resources. Because what happens is their resources run very thin. And when their resources ultimately run out and they have nowhere else to turn, they have nowhere else to go, nobody else that can feed into their addictions or to co-sign their addictions, they're that much closer to getting clean. They may go through some hardships. They may, go through a period of stealing. They may go through just doing things that they wouldn't normally do. And that's okay. That even in itself can be another addict manipulation. If you did this for me, I wouldn't have had to gone out and steal or pawn this or whatever the case is. Again, that's them blaming for their actions, and that stuff may happen. But just know that you have to hold your ground. You have to be able to recognize these things. And all that stuff will eventually run dry. They will have nowhere else to turn. They'll have nobody else to talk to. And maybe they get in trouble with the law, whatever the case is. But all these things help the addict get closer to getting clean and to breaking free from the addiction. It's very important to recognize these things, to know when to act and when to react and how to react. There's so much that can go into it. The best thing, though, is if you feel like something like this is going on or that you're picking up on this, reach out to somebody that you know that has gone through this. Maybe it's a friend that has an addict son or daughter or spouse that is clean, that's gone through this, that can help you navigate this. If you don't have somebody like that, reach out. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to any of our team members here. A simple Google search will help you a lot. Just videos, and educate yourself on what and how this stuff really works. Addiction is cunning, baffling, and powerful, and it tears through families all the time. So it's important to be super educated. Know it's okay to ask questions. We have resources everywhere. You can reach me. My email is tom@realrecoverytalk.com. You can reach me there. At the end of every podcast episode, there's a phone number there. If you call that phone number, it's going to come directly to my cell phone. I'll answer it. I'll answer any questions that you have. And I'm also affiliated with Rock Recovery Center, and we are a treatment center. Now, that doesn't mean that we can take your loved one and help them here, but if we can't help them here, we have resources all over the United States that we can, depending on your resources and what you guys can do, we can find the right place for them. So again, Don't be afraid to reach out, get educated, know what you're dealing with. And in the end, the ultimate goal is to get your loved one clean and sober so they can live the life that they deserve. If you like what you saw in this video, you can go to realrecoverytalk.com. There you're going to find a bunch of podcast episodes and a ton of videos that's going to just continue to give you the education that you need to understand addiction and everything that comes with it. See you in the next episode.